The way that I look at credit and stuff is, I hate to say it like this, but where your score is, it's like an old woman. She hits the floor, she's hitting it hard and she's hitting it fast. But to get back up, it takes her a while.
I had seen something, man, I don't even think it's been a year ago. They said, hey, yeah, you can have an authorized user, but if your kid comes out with an 800 credit score, that might get him in the door, but we got to look at what that is. So is it even worth it at that point?
Yes and no. You can have some parents that are like the most intelligent people in the universe, but they're still going to have one dumb kid. Like, I love my kids and they're great. I'm not going to say I have a dumb one, but I have one that I'm worried about and one that I'm not. Credit unions are a not-for-profit organization, whereas banks, they try to please their investors. With the credit union ideology, anything that we earn after that goes back toward the members. Since we're not like focusing on what we're earning for ourselves, we're focusing on serving the member. It's a different ideology in how we treat the members.
Look, so for my viewers, what betters their chance of getting approved when coming to see you or any other bank? When I was younger, I always viewed banking institutions as the dream killer until I got older, got my credit up, got my financial acumen up. And then I find out that bankers are actually wanting to work with you more than against you.
People could say like I'm a loan officer, but I don't really like to consider myself a loan officer. I consider myself a loan advocate because I'm advocating for you why we should be giving you the loan, not why we should be saying no. Like if I was sitting there just to take applications all day long, I mean, heck, they can write AI script to do that now. I'd be useless. My job is to make sure that we can close the loan. So when I look at everybody's application, there's so many different things and calculations that we have to look at. Yeah, we do have some things that'll be a hard stop. But instead of saying like, well, sucks to suck, and then like push them out the door, my view of my job is how do we make it work? So looking at all the finer options and the finer details, and with my communications with the underwriters that are making all the decisions, my job is to make sure that I can give them every reason to say yes. Instead of saying, these are the reasons why we shouldn't do it. It's like, no. If we were here just to take applications, that'd be nothing. My job is to get the loan done, not for my sake, but for your sake. And to look at the whole picture instead of just the one thing she's talking about.
Steve, get out of here. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Kendrick, and this is another episode of Talks with Ken. This is a place where motivation lives, inspiration thrives, and personal growth resides. Yes, yes. And I hope you guys are doing well today. I know I am. I had a little trying week a little bit. I even made a little short that I uploaded on TikTok and on my platform on YouTube. Because I'm a real person. Some days I have some good days and sometimes I have some bad days, but I hope you guys are doing well. And I'm glad you guys are tuning in to today's episode because we're going to live in purpose, on purpose, not by accident. Okay. And if you have not, and I said this the last 2-3 weeks, if you have not just yet, go ahead and click the link below and subscribe to your boy. You have to be able to subscribe to your boy so that we can be the change in order to be the change. We got to see it. All right. So let's work together on that process. So go ahead and follow me. Share with your friends, whatever, wherever have you, you go at it, okay? And I like to do my part on the show. And if anybody's new to my show, I want you guys to understand that I'm trying to do my part in this crazy, chaotic world to bring about change first in my household, then the community in which I live, and hopefully that outreach goes outward. So I want you guys to tune in, take notes, and do the same. When I bring these guests on the show, they're trying to give you the bread. They're trying to give you the food of life, okay? And this gentleman that I have today, literally, is trying to help you get your bread. Hey, everyone knows that I want you guys to get above survival. And typically, most of the times, getting above survival is being able to provide for your family, whether it's working, typically financial means. And so this individual that I'm about to introduce you to can definitely shine some light on our financial situations and the financial situation in totality. All right. And so without further ado, I want to welcome my guest, Steven Stoker. How you doing, Mr. Steven Stoker?
We're doing great, man. Just far better than I deserve, as always.
I'm so excited to have you on the show because I think my audience is going to get a lot out of this conversation in more ways than one. But I want to start with my very first question. We're going to dive on in. You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
So for starters, who is Mr. Steven Stoker?
Well, Myself, I'm born and raised in Utah. Um, Lived there pretty much almost my whole life until there was a time 2003 to 2005. I lived in Mexico for a couple of years. Being from Utah, yes, you guessed it. I used to do the Mormon church thing where I was a missionary and I went and taught people about the church and stuff. Um, that time was like really good for me to like service, learning service and all that other good stuff. Also, I learned Spanish pretty
Yeah.
well. Uh,
Yeah.
but that was 2003 to 2005, and then I went back to Utah, lived there. Met my now ex-wife. We were married for 15 years, but back November of 2020, we moved here to South Carolina, and it was mostly because like we had like a lot of different things we wanted to see for our kids. And one of the big ones was diversity because in Utah, everybody's white, everybody's Mormon. If you're not both, you're either a number one draft pick or you're someone's project. So like we were just kind of yeah. So like I said, like 10 years ago, we left the church and we haven't really done anything with them since then. However, moving here, it was more so that my kids could see that like we come in every color, shape, and size. Everybody has a different walk of life, and it's like just we're people, like we're everywhere.
Correct.
So
Correct.
so we decided here for that for good schools. We wanted to be closer to a beach, but not like right on the coast because hurricanes scare the crap out of me. But we still wanted mountains too. So like everywhere and everything that we were looking for just kind of landed us right here. And really long run, like everything is just I was doing it all for my kids and for my family and just trying to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
us in a better way. And by far, I feel like we're definitely there.
Man. Awesome.
That's me in a nutshell, like person wise. Career wise, I've done a lot of stuff. I've done credit unions twice, once in Utah for about 5 years, and then I've been here for four at the one that I work at now. I've done mortgages, I did digital marketing, I've done tech sales, I did software as a service for a little bit, just a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah. Oh, needless to say, you're living. You're living. I always tell my
Yeah.
kids and everybody around me, try quick, fail fast, and you'll quickly find out if something's for you or not. But if nothing else, you
Yeah.
got the experience.
Yeah, I like that fail fast thing. Bill Hader says that. He's the
Yeah.
comedian. Yeah, he says that. But another thing that I like to say to kind of go along with that is if you're going to fail, fail flamboyantly. Because
Oh,
like
talk to
anyone
me.
who anybody who put everything into what they're doing, if they've failed, it's never been like a light fail. Like if you're failing hard, you're trying hard.
Like that. Fail flamboyantly. Look, and then I also want to introduce my viewers to how we actually cross paths. And, not per se all of my business, but he works in one of the financial institutions up here in Greer. And I'm gonna get more into that, and I'm gonna let him describe that towards the end of the show as well. But I really think that this gentleman far supersedes his position as just a financial specialist or a financial banker, because his personality, which you'll find out during this session, is bigger than life. It is totally bigger than life. And so, well, with my first question, how did you ended up getting into the world of finances?
Well, right after my first wife and I had gotten married, I was working at that automotive paint store and it was a family owned business. It wasn't part of my family. So like I kept getting hosed. So I wasn't making a lot of money, but we just got married. And if we decided that we wanted to start a family, I was going to need to get a job that was going to be able to compensate better. Went looking for jobs and they called me back for an interview and I just, everything just kind of felt right. And I just worked my tail off to just keep progressing. And I've really found like a really strong love and a burning desire to really like help people out this way through working at a credit union. Like honestly, it's like I don't know, it just seems like the perfect fit. Like every day that I go to work, it's like I know exactly why I'm doing this. It's just I
You
love it.
got you got to help. You got a heart to help. And I got a question. What's the difference between a banker and having your banker? I was going to a
Right.
bank with some other business deals, like, hey, who is your banker?
Hmm.
And I say, oh, I bank with such. No, 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 no. Who is your banker? And I
Yeah.
kept naming the
So
banking institution. Could you shine some light on that?
yeah, well, like a lot of people like have that kind of mentality of like that because in the olden times, like you would just have your one person that you would go to versus the institution. right? So that one person would always be the person that you would set up a time and an appointment with to meet with them, to like do any loans or anything. That was your guy. But nowadays, like you can just go into any institution and talk to anybody there and anybody can do it. That's kind of like the idea of like your banker and your banker, like the specific person, or are you talking the institution? Because like nowadays it's mostly like the institution. You got your place. But yeah, credit unions, we don't really have like, you're not like assigned to be like this person's thing. It's like, sure, you have your members that'll like want to come and see you all the time, but like anybody else can help them because we're not, credit unions are a not for profit organization, whereas banks, they try to please their investors. With the credit union ideology, anything that we earn
Talk to
after
me.
that goes back toward the members. And since we're not like focusing on what we're earning for ourselves, we're focusing on serving the member. It's a different ideology in how we treat the members. Yes, I would love to work with you every single time, but if I've got another member that's in my office at the time, but you're needing help immediately, I've got all the trust in the world that the other people are going to be able, that we have in the office are going to be able to help you just the same way because we've all got the same mindset of what's going to be best for you, not what's going to be best for the investors, because we don't have them. We don't have investors. All Yeah, everything that funds the credit union is coming from interest earnings, the fees that happen at times when people sometimes will overdraft and such, which is rare. But like anything that we get back from like the interest from loans, it'll go back to the membership. So like yes, we do pay our employees and our staff and everything, but anything over what we earn goes to keeping the lights on, and it goes back into like having better facilities, offering better dividend earnings on savings accounts. The one credit union that I was at back in Utah, what we would do at the end of the year is that we would see what the overage was, and we would give a big bonus dividend at the end of the year that would just go right back to the member. So, like anything that was over what we had earned or what we needed to make everything run, it would go back to the members. And
Wow.
really, we try to get back to the community too.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
I do feel that. I feel like in an investment world, they always say, you want to instead of going to those big conglomerate banks, you want to have one of those smaller community type of banks. But then
Mhm,
you guys are small, but not small. But you guys are a credit union, and I feel it's
mhm.
more personable. Would you say that you guys have that type of thing in your niche?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the whole thing. Without our members, nothing else matters, right? Like the membership versus the customer, right? Like that's the main thing that I find with the verbiage that people have a difference with within credit unions and banks. We have members because you've got that $25 that you got to keep in the account to keep it open. That's buying your membership into the credit union. So that's your piece of ownership. Every year, every credit union, they'll have a big annual meeting where the members will be able to come along with all of the employees. They talk about the state of the credit union, how things are going. Ours is actually going to be happening here in a few weeks. If sometimes members, if they'll have, I don't want to say issues, but if they have like questions or concerns or things that they just kind of want to say, like, hey, how about we do this? They can bring it up there because they have a voice. They're a member of the credit union, a member of the ownership. So within that, it's like the reason why we're more like member service oriented and wanting to make you guys happy so much is that you're technically my boss at that point. Because without the members, I
I
got nothing
love
to
that.
do.
It's like,
Yeah.
wow. That's how it feels when I'm in there. That's really how it feels with anybody that I've worked with. It feels like y'all really care. And then my next question is how do banks like this or any bank in general push profit but still be ethical in doing what's best for their clients? Am I saying that right? Am I asking that question right? Is there a
I think I know
balance
what you're trying to
between
get
that?
at.
Because I do
Yeah.
feel
No, go ahead.
no, I mean, because I do feel that you guys, you literally listen to me when I'm in there. You listen to me, you figure out what it is. I never feel pressure to do anything. How do banks find that balance?
Well, there's like, yes, we do want loans on the books, but this is where it comes again a difference between a bank and a credit union. Bank, they would just like, yeah, we're going to do the deal and I'm going to get my cut and we're good. But with credit unions and
Mhm.
ours specifically, I would rather you, if, for example, if there's another institution that's offering you a better rate, and everything works, that would be the better decision. As much as I would love to be able to service the loan and have you have more of your business here, if that's a better deal for you, go do that. Like, do the thing that's going to be best for your situation. So it's knowing the difference on like what's better for who are we trying to make happy here. Does it matter that I'm happy nearly as much as it makes you happy, who's the one that makes sure that I have a job?
Wow. Man, ladies and gentlemen, I hope y'all can feel that sincerity coming through the mic. Look, and then another question too. A little guilty at this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. So when I was younger, I always viewed banking institutions as the dream killer until I got older, got my credit up, got my financial acumen up. And then I find out that bankers are actually wanting to work with you more than against you. Well, that's my personal opinion. What is your take on that?
Well, like I was saying, like it's how you define the job, right? For me, people could say like I'm a loan officer, but I don't really like to consider myself a loan officer. I consider myself a loan advocate because I'm advocating for you why we should be giving you the loan, not why we should be saying no. Because like if I was sitting there just to take applications all day long, I mean, heck, they can write AI script to do that now. I'd be useless. My job is to make sure that we can close the loan. So when I look at everybody's application, there's so many different things and calculations that we have to look at that there are some things that, yeah, like we do have some things that'll be a hard stop. But instead of saying like, well, it sucks to suck and then like push them out the door, my view of my job is how do we make it work? How can we
Hmm.
fix things to go and have this happen? So looking at all the finer options and the finer details and with my communications with the underwriters that are making all the decisions, my job is to make sure that I can give them every reason to say yes instead of saying like these are the reasons why we shouldn't do it. It's like no. If we were here just to take applications, that'd be nothing. My job is to get the loan done not for my sake, but for your sake. Like I was saying before, like if you can get a better deal somewhere else, go there, but just get the deal done. Like I want to make sure that you're getting the thing that you need. Like one of the examples that I always go back to with getting things done in a way that'll make it happen and work is there's this here in Greenville, there was this lady that she came in. I'm going to keep everything as anonymous as I can, but
I
she was
got you.
fantastic. Yeah, just a wonderful, wonderful person. And she came in and she was pretty distraught, but and I could see that like in her demeanor, she was like a little I don't want to say embarrassed, but like nervous because like I think that she'd gone to like some places online and gotten told no. And like I was saying, like my job is to why do we say yes, right? So I talked to her about her situation, and she was a recent single mom where she and her boyfriend just they split. They just didn't end up working as a couple. They're still friends, but like, just as a couple didn't work right. And she had her car financed through us, and it was a newer Subaru that had quite a bit of value in there. And she'd had it paid down pretty well. So like she had a lot of equity in it. And her problem was because she was like recently navigating these seas of single parenthood and trying to figure out how to manage all of her bills and everything and still, have a good life for her kid because she's got this 3-year-old daughter. So she's getting used to all of this and she was getting to the point where she was getting like affirm credit lines through Target and other places because like there's places where it's like it used to be layaway, but now it's like you just sign up for the credit card for what you need that day and then you've got to make the payments on it. She had in total came out to like $900 a month in payments to those are different affirm lines. Why she came in at that point when she did is that she had just gotten a job that doubled her salary. And she was like, this is the light at the end of the tunnel, but there's this boulder block in the way and I just can't get out. So despite like how much better things were going with her new job, she had this huge
Yeah.
burden of all of those payments and then like the different places where she was applying because they were really I'm going to say mechanical and like robotic where it was just like this is our program and that's it and not flexing at all. She came in. Like I said, I looked and I saw that she had that car with the equity, and she already had the car financed with us anyway. So I did the math, and in total, with all of her affirmed lines that she had, I was able to take all of those amounts, roll them into one payment with her car payment. I extended the term a little bit, but I was able to lower her car payment, take out all those other payments, saving her about $900 a month. And it was because because I took the time to ask the extra questions and to look at the whole picture instead of just the one thing she was talking about.
Steve, get out of here.
No, I refuse to get out of here. No, and honestly, like, when I told her that I'd gotten her approved, because like that was the other thing that I did with the underwriter as well. Is like I
That's your
told them,
part.
is like,
Yeah.
let's look at this with a little bit of a human eye. She's so close to getting out from under this mountain. Let's be the hand and reach in. And she she got approved. When I called her, she was driving. She's like, hold on, I need to pull over. And I was like, so like for details, she was like, no, I'm crying. So it was just like such a like
That
one of
is
those
so
heartwarming things. Is like I just changed her life, and I'm not saying it's like anything like me specifically, but
yeah,
that's like one of the other things is that for me, like looking at these different loans and stuff that I'm doing, it's not just a car loan. It's not
yeah,
just
yeah.
this other thing. It's sometimes it's saving that lady $900 a month. Other times there's another lady that I helped out that it was the means to have reliable transport to be able to get her very special needs nonverbal son to and from therapy appointments. It was another person that they were just finished up with college and they're trying to get in their new job and everything and get to and from work
Yeah.
reliably. Again, just getting the vehicle that'll do the job right.
Look, so for my viewers, what betters their chance of getting approved when coming to see you or any other banker?
Well, the things that are going to make the approval process smoother and not just faster, but easier in general is why, right? Like, why are we doing it? Why are you wanting a new car? Is it because you just want a fresh new whip? Or is that what kids are saying nowadays? I don't even know, dude.
Yeah,
But like,
it is for me.
yeah. Okay, cool, cool. All right. So are they just looking for like a really nice car? Is it their dream car? Or are they, like I was saying, trying to have a more reliable transport for when their kids get to come and visit them, that they're, not worrying on if they're going to have to put in another quart of oil before they get out the grocery store? Yeah,
What are
yeah.
some of the misconceptions that the regular general public have about the banking system overall?
Gosh, that we're out to get them, that we just want their money.
Oh my God.
That's like, for real, like, we want to help you be able to use your money at a credit union. We're just, like I said, like we're not for profit. So like, sure, we have like a bunch of different, some places will call them sticky products, where it's like, well, you have this, well, you can have this and this and this and this as well. And the reason is because you
Uh-huh.
have more things in the one spot, you're more likely to use them for everything else. So that's one reason why like some banks will tell you, just go with one institution. And that's fine. It's good for ease. But like for me, if you have like your checking account with us and like your credit card, but let's say there's another institution that'll give you a better rate on a CD than what we have to offer at
Yes.
that time.
Yes.
As much as I'd love to have the money there, it's better for you in the long run to have it any other place. I totally understand why you would do that. So go for it. Make yourself extra money and be fine. And I think it's more that sincerity is what's going to win over loyalty to members and people coming in, rather than just having more stuff that they're doing with you. Because, like, sure, people having more things in one place, they'll be able to stick around and they'll think, well, everything's there. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't have to be.
So you got banks want to see credit scores. At what point do banks look at your PFS or your personal financial statements over credit, or if they're cash strapped but they have bad credit? How do banks weigh those situations?
I love that you asked it this way, because this is one of the things that this is one of the joys of having ADHD, is that you have like a bunch of different thoughts running around in your head like a tornado, and you get to pick little pieces of them. And then you remember, it's like, oh, I wanted to say this too. But when I was talking earlier about like doing the loans and stuff, I don't care what your credit score is. I care why your credit score is. How'd you get there? Like, there's an 18-year-old student that just graduated high school and they happen to have their parents put them on as an authorized signer on their credit card when they were 16. So all of a sudden they have like a 735 credit score. Cool. Did that kid really do anything to earn it? No. They didn't do that. No. Everything was on their parents. They're riding their coattails. So I don't care about that 18-year-old with a 730 credit score because they did nothing to earn it. I haven't been able to have them prove to me that they've done anything to earn that. There's times where I'll see, again, single moms or single dads or, recent divorcees. They'll have almost every single time they have a rough go with their credit right off the bat because they're trying to figure out how to go from a dual income household down to a single. So,
Yeah.
yeah, your score is going to drop at that point, but it's not like you were abusing things. So in those scenarios, it's like, yeah, your score's not great and your interest rate's going to be a little higher because of it. But that doesn't mean that we're going to tell you no. That just means that we're going to work with you and do our best. There's other times where, yeah, it is years of abuse and people just don't pay their stuff. And yeah, that's going to get told no. But again, it's the why, like years of abuse, lack of use,
Yeah.
like those things will cause for like a low credit score. Like if you're not even using it, like I get guys that are in their 70s and here in the South, it happens all the time where it's like, well, if I don't got the cash, I don't got the thing, so they don't do loans or anything. So when they finally do end up needing a loan, they come on in and their score is like garbage, but they're in their 70s and they only have like, we call them trade lines, the different things that they've had on their credit, like credit cards, cars, homes. They've only had like the one or two things over their entire life. So of course they're not going to have a credit score. They haven't proven that they've been able to do anything on paper, but because they've done everything with cash. So that's where it's like there's a delicate dance where you do want to use your credit, but you want to use it wisely. And you want to make sure that even if you do happen to have like a lower score, that I don't want to say make sure it's for the right reasons, but like don't have a low score just because you don't want to pay your stuff, or it's if you're going to have a lower score and want to get approved, how did you get there? Like it's,
Wow.
yeah, I like to look at the whole picture.
Wh- See, usually that blew my mind with that because it's like you're a detective in the financial world. It's like it's
Hmm.
not a doom and gloom
No,
if
not at
you
all.
not if you don't have the best financial situation. It's just how can we really help this individual in their current situation? Of course, you might have to turn some people away, but man, you're surprising me right now, man, because I thought
Well,
I knew a lot about the financial banking institution.
yeah, I know you know how to take care of your own stuff, right? I've seen that for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, you're good.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. But it's like one of those things where I was so anal. My personal situation, I was so anal on why I couldn't get stuff coming out of high school, and I just took ownership of what I need to do to be able to better my chances. So I learned a lot of financial acumen, learned a lot about what goes behind a credit score. And then I started like, man, what okay, now that I got a really good credit score, I got money saved up, how are banks gonna treat me now? Because I had this negative stigma when I went into a banking institution when I didn't have much, or not to say that I'm Bill Gates and nothing like that, of course, but it's more like I was always used to the nose, right? And then so that stigma, just everywhere I went, every banking institution, that stuck with me until I'm gonna even say this until me and my wife, we were actually going to purchase our very first home many years ago. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. We had already done some credit work and all that kind of stuff, like, getting ourselves out of debt and all that kind of good jazz. And we were saving, but we weren't saving at the high clip that we do now. But it was more of a, yeah, we're gonna go and get this house. No, no, they're just gonna say no. They're just gonna say no. But over the time, I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Why wouldn't we? Yeah, you guys are great. And but up until that point, I thought I looked at banking system and bankers as like the my nemesis. But then through over the years after that, you guys are more of my partners. You guys are more of my partners, and that's one of the things that I had to get out of my mind. But do you see a lot of individuals coming in with that same type of mentality and you have to break that wall down, or you're like, hey, hey, I'm here to help. Do you have to explain that?
Yeah, like here in the South, far more than I did in Utah, that's for sure. There's such a false sense of security there.
So in the banking world, there's levels to the game. There's levels to positions. They aren't all created equal. Your position is a loan officer, a loan specialist. Am I saying that right?
Member specialist, but yeah, same deal.
Okay, member specialist. Could you break down number one your route, or the typical route to get to where you're at in the branch? How does that work?
Right. So the credit
Okay.
union that I was at in Utah, I started off as a teller. I was a bilingual teller because I speak Spanish, and I was at that branch for about 4 months, and I just did the job and just did whatever I was asked and just made sure that I was helping out the members in a way that they were happy with the results. And I got positive reviews, and 4 months later, they promoted me to go into the contact center, which some people would view it as a lateral shift, but at that credit union, that was like kind of a step up because you're handling more phone calls and you're able to eventually get to where you're taking some loan applications over the phone. So you're getting more experience within that realm. I was in the contact center there for about a year and a half. Well, not a year and a half, 15 months, like barely over a year. And then we had a sales department that it wasn't like sales, like high pressury stuff, but basically it was the way that I viewed it was our way of letting members know it's like, hey, just in case they didn't talk to you about this, there's a way that you can save a whole lot of money if you were to refinance this loan with us. Because
Hmm.
one of the things that we would do is that we would look at a list every morning of the new memberships that we'd open that day. And at that credit union, we had like 26 branches. While I was there in the sales department, we would look at that list of new accounts that were open. We'd take a peek at their credit report, see what score they were getting. And I built this spreadsheet that I could put in the information from the credit report that would show the original loan balance, the original term, and what their payment is, and it would calculate about what interest rate they're getting. So I would know if we would be able to do a better interest rate than what they're getting now. And I would put in where the loan currently sits. And then I've still got the spreadsheet and I still use it. I used it like 3 times today. I put in the loan that we could have it due, and it would calculate the difference in what their monthly payment would be, which doesn't really sound like a whole lot of money most times, but it would also calculate the difference in how much interest they would pay over the life of the loan. So we could see like 4 years down the road, they've saved $1,600, where it ends up being a lot more than saying you're saving $20 a month.
I'll say 50 cents. I'm happy. So money is money to me.
Yeah,
That
money's money.
means a
Yeah,
lot.
exactly. But like that was one of the things I learned there in the sales department. And then the area that we were living in, like it was fine, but my ex-wife and I, we decided that we wanted to go live down closer to her family. It just ended up being a better decision. So we moved down there, and the credit union I was at, we had a branch down in that area that they needed an assistant branch manager, but they wanted to see me do some loans and stuff first before they threw me into that position. And so I was doing loans and stuff there for a few months, and then I was the assistant branch manager. And then 3 months after that, the guy who was my branch manager got promoted to be one of that credit union's first insurance agents. Like they offer personal lines insurance there in Utah now at that credit union. And he when he went, it was my time to step up after only 3 months of experience as an assistant. So they put me in as a branch manager, and I managed that branch for a little bit over a year before I left there. Uh, and so and that was my 5 year journey, like I including the year and a bit as a branch manager. So the my growth was pretty quick by comparison to like what other people do. Usually people will be at a credit union for like a few years, like maybe even sometimes seven before they get up to being a branch manager. But like me, it was one, being in the right place at the right time, but two, also just work in the right way within the credit union mindset. And then when I started working at this credit union, what happened was I was working a different job. I was working at Guild Mortgage downtown Greenville, and I was a loan officer's assistant. And I basically just made sure that all of her loan files had everything that they needed before they went over to the processor. And we worked really well together. But then there was that point after COVID when things kind of started going back to normal, where people were like, this is one thing that like I hated about COVID. People got so used to really low interest rates during that time, even though it was like a year and a half, 2 years, that when they started to climb
Yeah.
back up to pre-COVID numbers, that they were like, what's going on? It's like, you said you wanted things to go back to normal, and here,
Not like that.
yeah, it's like you can't pick. It's like, can we just like have the good stuff and then go back everything else to the way it was? It's like, no, you get all or nothing. So
Yeah.
the during that time when I was working there, the interest rates started to hike. The home values have started to grow exponentially here in Greenville because the area is just growing so much. And like, I know that I moved here from out of state, so I'm kind of part of the problem. But I like to think that I was before the Exodus, so like I'm not one of those ones. But anyway, um, the loan officer that I was assisting, she went from doing 4 million a month in loans down to one. So if she wanted to keep me on, she'd end up needing to pay herself less than she was paying me. So it wouldn't have been good business. So like we talked it out and we understood each other. It's like, look, we understand. Like we're still friends. Like we're in a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
we work together well. It's just for the state that everything was in because of everything that had gone on with the market and everything, it just didn't make sense. And I totally understood. But bright side was that opened up the doors to work at the credit union where I'm at now, where when I applied to work here, I saw the listing. They had an opening for a bilingual part-time teller, and they had an opening for a full-time loan officer. So when I sent in my resume, I put in a cover letter and I said, hey, I don't know if this is some sort of kismet filled act of divine intervention, but I'm bilingual and I've got the skills to be a really excellent loan officer for you guys. And on top of that, I live 2 miles away from the branch, so I have a 4 minute commute. I'm here for you guys. Like it's the choice is yours. So they didn't even really look at my resume because like the rest of the stuff that I put in the cover letter just like totally sold them on it.
Blew 'em
So
away.
yeah, so when I started here at this credit union, I started off as a loan officer at our Greer location. I was there for 13 months, and then there was an opening to be a branch manager at our Malden branch, and I applied for that, and I went there, and it was good, but it worked very differently than the one that I had in Utah, because that branch that I managed in Utah was a little grocery store branch. We were slow. This one, it was a lot more stressful than than I was used to when I was managing the one there in Utah. Like the people that I work with there, I love them all. They're great. I still work with them. They're all awesome. um, like I said, I just chose to step down because I was already losing enough hair as it was. I'm already like short and chubby. Why do I need to throw in bald in the mix? Like I don't need that stress in my life. I'm our floating loan officer now. So what that means is like instead of being like in a fixed location, if there's really anybody that's out on vacation at another branch and they need assistance there, that's where I'll go. If a member comes in and he's having a hard time, I do really good with damage control. Like I'm really good at listening and making sure that like, yes, I understand that this is frustrating for you, but let's take a step back and look at these things. How do you want me to respond? And I'm able to get them to, I don't want to say calm down because that sounds like kind of, I don't know, like not the best customer service, but like I can have those harder conversations and do all that, but not only in English, but in Spanish as well. So that's where I double up because like now it doesn't matter if it's a bilingual person that's out for the day. They got me. I can still do it in Spanish too.
Wow. See, how does anyone choose a specific banker or institution? Bankers really do you really do matter because you were talking about your spreadsheet that you had personally and you were able that you still use from a long time ago. That's indicative to you. And then you have the acumen through your years of experience to couple what you knew, what they're trying to achieve, and then a possible solution. That's you. I mean, that's the banker. Is that something that's
Yeah.
commonplace in most banks at people at your level or your position? Because that's good and that's scary at the same time. Because everything that you said now, and I got a couple of bankers that I deal with, and they have your same spirit. But can one just go in and get somebody who just hate life and just don't want to be there? Like, is that a very real possibility? It's like, hey, just get out of here.
I don't want to say yes, but like you're gonna find a little bit of everything from everywhere, and like even the best people are gonna have bad days. But
Yeah, I get you.
like yeah, no, you do get some of those, as my kids would say, those grumpy gusses. But like you get people that just like they don't have their whole heart in the game. But like those ones at the same time, those are the ones that normally don't get the promotions because like if we here at this credit union we promote from within, and we can see the people that have a real desire to serve the membership and do the right thing and make sure that they're helping people in the right way.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so
That's
like
amazing.
we'll make sure that we're getting those people hooked up with the right spots. But like last year, so for 2025 I was on our training team. So when we would get a new loan officer, I would go and I'd train them how to do the job in the best possible way. So like I was sharing that sheet with everybody and like kind of letting them in on that mindset of advocate for your member, loan advocate, not a loan officer. Like pretty much everything that I've been talking to, I've been training to those other member specialists that are coming in now. And or at least that were last year. This year I'm not doing it just because like with how often I was needing to go to other branches, it was just difficult for me to be able to have the time available to like go to another
Yeah.
branch to train them.
Uh,
So it's just kind of hard. But even still, if I'm ever at the branch where the new people are, I'm helping them out. Like they all have a way to get a hold of me, and they know they can ask me anything, and I'll get them the straight answer. But the that mentality and that mindset of look at the whole picture, why be curious and cautious at the same time. Like you can be curious about a person and like find out their scenario to find out how they got to where they are. Because usually, not usually, but a lot of times, the way out, sometimes you got to look back at your steps where you were in your life and see how you can move forward from there.
yeah, I agree.
But yeah, no, like the being there for the members, that is something that we try to drive home so much with our credit union. Because like yeah, I mean like we can serve ourselves by getting more loans and getting other things for members and stuff, but like in the long run it's all about you guys, it's not about me.
That's amazing. And then how does one, for my viewers and individuals that want to get into the banking industry or financial specialist space, do you have to go to the college, get a certain degree to get in the door?
Nope.
How does that work?
So I never went to college.
Mhm. Talk to me.
Okay, so I grew up single mom, two older sisters, and one of those downsides to it was like there was a lot of stress that was on my mom, and no fault to her. Like I love her; she did the best with what she could. She worked her butt off all my life, and one of the things that had happened when I was in third grade, I remember this vividly because my teacher gave me a letter to take home. She said, "Give this to your mom." I was like, "Okay." And of course I'm going to read it because I need to know what trouble I'm going to be in, right? And I wasn't in trouble, luckily. It just said, hey, we think your kid might have ADD. You might want to take him to go get tested and see if he is. And my mom took the letter and she read it and she's like, you don't have that. And that was the end of the conversation. Turns out I did. But like I said, no fault on my mom. It was just like single mom with two kids that she's raising on her own. She's got her
Yeah,
mortgage payment and she's working full
yeah,
time. She didn't need another thing. And that would have just been one more thing. And I totally get it. And honestly, if I would have gotten like the Ritalin or whatever it would have been at the time, I wouldn't be in the same position that I'm in right now, and I'm pretty dang happy right now. So I don't want to like say that whatever happened then like changed things to where I'm at now. Like, yeah, but anyway, because of that, I wasn't exactly the best student in high school because like I would understand the work and everything would like make sense to me, but like I wouldn't do the homework because my view was the homework is there to practice the thing so you understand it. I already understand it. I don't need the practice. So I wasn't doing the homework, but I was acing all the tests. Like I'd get like it was always me at the top of the class with like the highest scores, despite the kids that are doing the homework and are struggling. For me, I just got it. Like it just made sense. So
yeah, yeah.
I just don't know. Like for me, like it was I wasn't a good student. So I knew that if I went to college, it wasn't going to go good. So, and see, there's just evidence right there because I should have said it wasn't going to go well, right?
but
So
but
anyway,
I'm from the South. I would have probably said it wasn't gonna go good.
yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, no, here, yeah, no, that's right. That's correct here. But nah, so I didn't go to college, but I just went to work. So
So
when
you was
I
able to gain the experience.
yeah, so when I started, I like I said, I started off as a teller, like very entry level, and I just paid attention and just did the job. Like it's very easy as a teller to like just count the money. That's it. Just make sure
Years
you know
ago,
how to count.
it years ago, I heard. Now this is probably like in college age. I think it was a young lady that was trying to tell me like, oh yeah, I got a job at such and such. I don't even know what bank it was. Do they have really strict requirements on individuals who are touching or being around money, or is it just like any other job?
There's background checks. So
Okay.
they make sure that you don't have like any criminal backgrounds or anything like that. Like no, like if there was time served, why? Like they want to make sure they've got someone who's safe and trustworthy because it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's as a credit union where we're not for profit. Yes, we're insured, but that's the members' money.
Yeah.
It's not that
Yeah.
it just doesn't belong to anybody and I'm just taking it from the bank at a credit union. It's your money. So they want to make sure that they're doing the right thing by hiring the right person. So there's a lot of background checking.
Okay. Look, and then when let me go back to this for the viewers as well. When someone's looking for a home loan, a automobile purchase, a personal loan, a line of credit, anything like that, how would you recommend they first go about that process? Is it just going into 3, 4, 5 different banks? Of course, not letting them pretty much run their credit, but how does
Yeah.
one say, "Look, I want to go to this bank. I want to see about the best rate." How do they go about that entire process from a banker's perspective?
Well, come see me and don't see anyone else. No, I'm just kidding.
Talk to me.
Um, nah, for real though,
Hey,
it's
I recommend.
yeah, well, thank you. But no, like really in the long run, it's just don't yeah, everywhere's gonna pull your credit if you just go from place to place to place and it's just gonna be
Yeah,
whittling that score down farther and farther and farther. Like if you're doing like one credit pull every here and there, that's fine. It's like firing a BB gun at a freight train. But if you're like getting your credit pulled like, once a month, it's gonna suffer. Because like every pull, it's a different calculation for each bureau. So I don't want to say
like
it's
3
this
points
many
down or something
points.
like that.
Something like that. But like I said, like it's different for every bureau. So like I don't want to say it's like every time it's gonna be 3 points because
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah,
But it's still gonna be
yeah,
something. And
yeah.
like the farther down it goes, the harder it is. The way that I look at like with credit and stuff is like I hate to say it like this, but where your score is, it's like an old woman. She hits the floor, she's hitting it hard and she's hitting it fast. But to get back up, it takes her a while, Like, but you totally get it,
Yeah.
right? It made sense. Like it's so easy to get that score to drop, but to get it to build back up, it takes a whole lot of work. So if you've done the work to be able to get your score in a good place and like make sure that like your history is showing that you have the ability to repay, that you're dependable on your payments, then getting approved is going to be easy by that part. But there's a bunch of other things that they look at when they're doing loans. It's not just what's your credit. We look at affordability,
The income ratio.
debt to income ratio, so how much your debts that are reporting on credit in contrast to how much money you're bringing in. The DORC calculation is your debts divided by your income. So, and we use gross monthly. So if you take all of what you're earning before taxes come out every month and you divide that by, or sorry, and then you have all of your debts, so like your credit cards, cars, personal loans, mortgage or rent, like cost of living, stuff like that. But we're not going to look at phone bill, utilities, those aren't included in those ratios. It's just the stuff that would report on credit and rent/mortgage. So those all added up in what 1 month's worth of payments are, divided by what your monthly income is. That percentage, we don't want to see that go above 43%. And that's a pretty standard range. The credit union
Yeah.
I was at in
Yeah.
Utah, we were 45, 45%. So it's like usually right around there. Because like when people are like obligated to spend 50% of their gross income, you look at it after all the deductions come back out, you don't really have a whole lot that you can live on after that. So you want to make sure that if you are going to be
Correct.
looking for loans, that sure, like you got that payment that you'd be comfortable with, but on paper, is it comfortable too? Like, are you
Yeah.
looking at like
Yeah.
in contrast to all of your debts versus how much income you're bringing in? Are you spending like 43% or more? Then you probably, instead of getting the Corvette, you might want to slim down and get the, I don't know, the Sentra. Just get something more within the means, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like it's just making sure that you're not overspending when you're asking for your lending.
Can you have a personal financial statement with you as you're going to these banks and say, "Hey, this is what I'm looking to do." I'm gonna say this: it's not Credit Karma, but it's like I'm paying into a credit service, and this is what my score
Mhm.
says, and this is what I got going on. Da, da, da. Could you kind of like preliminary numbers without running credit? Or you like, look, I can give you like hypotheticals, but we got to fine tune it later. So, but could they get in the ballpark before actually pulling or running credit?
They can, but the thing, like with any of those, without naming names like you did, I'm just kidding. Credit Karma and those ones, I have a hard time like fully trusting where they're going with because they base their information off of what a soft pull is instead of doing a hard pull. Difference between a hard pull and a soft pull. Soft pull just looks at the information from the last time that credit was thoroughly pulled. And they say, well, as long as you've done everything that you've been doing before, then you should be blah. But where there's sometimes people that like they've turned their lives around. So like their score is going to be much higher than what Credit Karma's doing their estimation on because their algorithm and math is like, yeah, but you have an invariable there of a person who can make changes. So it's kind of hard for me to like say it's like trust that. But usually what people will do when they give me or what I'll do with people when they give me their credit score that they got off of one of the services, I'll take it and I'll say, all right, if your score lands between X and Y, then you're going to be here. If you're between A and B, you're going to be here. So I'll give
Mm,
them like three different ranges. And I'll say this is
mhm.
good, better, best, right? So like you've got your if things haven't gone as well as they did in the past and your score has gone down, this is where you'll be. If you're right where it says it is, this is where you are. But if maybe you've surprised the heck out of them and their algorithm isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing, and you're up here. Different scenarios based on each one. So it's like to really get you a good estimate, like, yes, we do have to run an application, but I don't want to do it until you're 100%. So, like,
Gotcha.
back to my spreadsheets, I've got some that I've done that'll kind of run down some of those calculations that we look at within an approval so that I can talk it out with them and say, like, if it's someone who's kind of on the fence, I like to like give them the whole scenario before actually pulling credit because like I could pull credit all day long, but that ain't going to help you. Like if you're like the people that this is how I found honestly with like a lot of people's mentalities, the people that are more nervous to go and apply for a loan, most times their credit isn't the greatest. But like there's other people that, they can come in with the confidence of a teenage magician, but they're still not going to be doing too well on the approval side because they haven't gotten all their other ducks in a row. But
Yeah.
the people that'll come in that are like a little bit more confident, like, yeah, I can get approved, they usually have better credit scores, like 700 or above.
Look, that man, you were just giving me all kind of little nuggets. Like, and this is my thing. I want to say this too. Why I get different banks, different entities pull from a credit union. Some do for Equifax, Experian, and all that kind of stuff. But I've literally had this happen in my personal experience where I've done, you know, went to a certain individual, and then like my credit score was pulled, and it was here. And then I go to another individual, and then it's like here, like 30, 40 points difference. I'm like, and then I'm like, hold on. what are you pulling? Yeah, we got different credit ratios. Da, 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 da. Why is that so different? How is that so sporadic?
Well, the different bureaus use different parts of the algorithm to give different weight to the scores. So like Experian, because I used Experian at the other institution I was at. Here we're using Equifax. So like of the two, like you're gonna see the scores vary from one bureau to the other because one bureau may view certain positive factors a little heavier than the other one does. And then one bureau may see one of these negative factors as like very detrimental, whereas the other bureau doesn't even look at it as a detriment. So it's like
So,
the different things that they use in their algorithms to weight what they calculate the score out to be is what's going to really be the big difference with it. And it's different for every bureau. You know, like there's a lot of times where Experian will be the higher score and a lot of times where TransUnion will, but sometimes it's Equifax. It's like different every time just based on what your habits were. Sometimes there's just one bureau that works better with who you are.
mm.
But
So you can
yeah.
have like all three. If y'all have all three, do you go in the middle? Is that still the rule or whatnot?
So within consumer lending, like cars, boats, motorcycles, trucks, personal loans, credit cards, that stuff, most institutions will just use one bureau. Mortgage lending, they'll pull from all three and then they'll take the average of the three scores.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So
Man, look,
mortgage lending will do that. And then commercial lending, I don't even know what the heck they do. I haven't gotten into commercial lending. That's like too much.
what it
There's
it's
so much
just
that goes into that, dude.
so much more tape that you gotta go through.
Yeah. Yeah. Commercial
See,
lending's rough.
look, that might be another episode. I mean, for another show. But look,
Well,
I
I
want to
got a
go
different
back.
guy for you on that one.
Look, I I want to go back to what you said about. 'Cause I've seen this on social media a lot, and I actually use this as well. But I did see this nugget that you said earlier somewhere else. It was conversely to the popular opinion. So you were mentioning about the authorized users on accounts for
Hmm.
kids,
Yeah.
and I had seen something. Man, I don't even think it's been a year ago. They said, "Hey, yeah, you can have an authorized user, but if your kid comes out with an 800 credit score, yeah, that might get him in the door. But we got to look at what that is. Is it even worth it at that point?"
Yes and no. Because if you're teaching, like, usually the parents that are doing that for their kids and the kids do come out with a good credit score, the parents are usually teaching the kids good habits. So, like, they will prove themselves, they just haven't yet. So, like, there is some benefit to it because like I said, the parents that are doing that, the kids are already setting up for success by what the parents have done outside of that as well. But sometimes when you put your kids on, and this comes down to the whole nature versus nurture thing, because like, you can have some parents that are like the most intelligent people in the universe, but they're still going to have one dumb kid. Like, I love my kids and they're great. I'm not going to say I have a dumb one, but I have one that I'm worried about and one that I'm not.
Man, I want you to chill.
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah,
Like, there's always going to be that one, like, every family has that one kid that they worry about, right? So like even if
yeah,
the
yeah.
parents do add that person on there, like you could teach them the same thing that you taught the older kid, but they're going to do what they want. So like that's where it's like it's good for you to do it for your kids, but it's up to your kids to work with it. So like as long as you're teaching the kids the right way, that's when it
Yeah.
becomes worth it.
And is that something that's kind of figured out during your investigative sit down when they're trying to apply for credit or something like that?
Yeah, and like I'll be able to see that like gosh, it was not even a week ago I pulled a kid's credit and he was wanting to buy a car, like his first car. And I was like, all right, you got a credit score. Yeah, that's what your parents put him on as an authorized signer. All right. So this is going to be good for an interest rate, but this isn't going to help your approval.
Talk to me, man.
That's what it comes down to. Like we look at like the history and like what have you proven that you can repay. So being that like his credit score, he's been an authorized user, that's the only thing reporting. That's not enough to really give us a good view on what he can handle. because the parents have done all the work.
Wow. Y'all hit it out there, TV world, radio land. That's a nugget right there. Yeah, I'm taking that one in. But I've heard that. I've heard that recently, and I talked to my wife about it because my son, he has a credit card, and 'cause I know one of this is crazy. One of my longest time or tenure credit reporting thing was my credit card. I got 2 credit cards just out of high
Hmm.
school. It wasn't good when
Yeah.
I first got out of high school, but I still got them. And it was my student loan. I had a student loan when I went to
Hmm.
school. Those 3 were the longest tenure. So when I actually knew
Yeah.
more about credit and stuff, so, "Oh, you got something on your credit." It was like 16 years old. Do it?
Yeah.
You know, but it had a credit history right when I was in college, first time in
Yeah.
college. So, wow.
Yeah. No, getting
That
that
is
card right out, that and keeping it, dude, as long as you're making the payments on time with that thing, never close it. Longevity is a huge thing that they look at. Because like if you can have like one of those revolving lines for a really long time, shows that one, the institution doesn't want to cut you off from it because you've been making your payments well. You can show that there's been such a long period of time. And some of the other metrics that they report to credit are what your high balance has been and what your high limit has been. So if they can see that your limit has been up to here and that's what it currently is at, but you've also got, whatever your high balance was, if you haven't used like a more than 30% of what that limit is, that
yeah.
shows that you're not going hog wild and you're not like, just going out using the card to get turned every weekend. You're actually doing it right. You're
Yeah.
using the
Yeah.
card and paying it off on time and showing responsibility with it.
Let's get more into you. You're a banker. You're helping a lot of individuals out, a financial expert. You are helping a lot of individuals out. What is something about you that people probably wouldn't know personally?
When my voice is warmed up, I have the voice of an angel. I used to sing when I was in high school and stuff. My mom, she actually had a full ride scholarship to Weber State University back in Ogden, Utah, where I'm from, for vocal performance, and she taught me everything from when I was a little kid. So like I'd sang from, gosh, like all through elementary school, middle school, high school. I've traveled with it. I just don't want to do the whole rock and roll lifestyle, so I never like tried to go for anything professionally.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to, probably could.
Do you sing in the car, sing in the shower when you're heading home after a busy day?
And not in the shower after a busy day, because usually after a busy day, if I'm in the shower, that means it's been a very sweaty day and I'm tired. Like in the car, like sometimes, yeah, I'll just jam out, throw on some Maroon 5 or something like that, and just belt to
And
it.
I'm gonna say this right now. I think you might have a career ready for you in the comedy world, sure enough, because you
Well, yeah, okay. So I eat I pretty much eat and breathe comedy. Like I I want to hear laughter that's a result of something I said more than anything. Like, it started when I was a little kid. I made my grandma laugh at one thing. I can't even remember what the heck I said, but I just made her laugh and she like snorted. And that was the moment. It's like, I need to do this to everyone. So it's
see,
like Pete Holmes, who's a stand up comedian, he describes it as chasing the dragon. Like, you find that thing that's just like, oh, this is awesome. I want to make this happen. So, like, just the way that I talk and the way that I make analogies and stuff, like most of the time they're off the cuff. But like if I find one that like gets someone that giggles, like that one I usually try to fine tune a little bit more and I keep it in my back pocket. But the only reason I don't do anything with it is that I
yeah,
feel like, not that I'm too old, because like there's plenty of comedians that get in there when they're in their 40s and that's where I'm at. But they have a thing that they'll find that they're talking about that's something that everyone else will care about. It's like I don't think I'm not saying like nobody cares about my stories. It's just like the things that I would need to develop a narrative about long enough to be able to do like a set would have to be enough content that could grab people and keep them interested long enough to want to listen to me just make dumb jokes about it for however long, you know? So that's the hard part. And I've listened So this is again, you're learning a little bit more about me than you probably anticipate. I like my
We are.
podcaster, like every podcast I listen to, it's all comedy podcasts. I listen to Smartless, I listen to Colin O'Brien Needs a Friend, Mike Birbiglia is Working It Out, which is the first podcast that I listened to that really hooked me into listening to podcasts because like that one is comedian. So he's a stand-up comedian. He's my favorite. Like every single time that he's released a special, it's like he's talking about stuff that he's going through that's all the same stuff that I'm going through. Like I'd gotten diagnosed with diabetes a few years ago. Oh, that's another thing people wouldn't know about me. I'm a diabetic. But
Living
yeah,
life still.
yeah, I danced like nobody's watching and I got diabetes. So that's just what happens.
Well, I really think you got to call it. Look, I'm gonna say it to you right now. I think you got to call on Annette. You doing you have to right now, but that want to is definitely because I feel that it seamlessly is you. You ain't even got to try. And I'm laughing at stuff that you like. Hey, that's me. That wasn't even a joke, you know. But like,
Sadly, yeah.
I gotta ask you these two questions before we get to Ken's final three questions. Okay,
I
because a lot of people sent me some notes, and I was like, man, I really want to know this information. Number one, with the times being tough or tougher, quote unquote tougher. You mentioned earlier, like, but these interest rates really aren't that bad. They're just not higher. I mean, not lower than what they were. What have you personally or in the banking institution system across the board seen a uptick in or a lowering in, whether it's lowering in approvals or more people coming in needing to get more loans? That what have you seen more of or less of now?
seen recently because like the prime lending rates have gone down. So more like on the normal regular interest rates will drop because most institutions will base their interest rates off of the national prime, which right now I think is like it's either 6.25 or 6.75. I think it's 6.75. So like they'll take that number and then they'll do math and it's like, well, this is our auto loan rate now. So when that goes down, regular interest rates will tend to go down.
Hmm.
But what because those rates have gone down, lately I've done a lot of car loans,
Uh
not
huh.
just
Uh-huh.
refinances. Like people, yes, refinancing because they want to get a lower rate than from when they bought it like 2 years ago, but also just people that they need to get new cars because their other cars have so many repairs and they don't have the money on hand right away to be able to pay for the repairs. And if their
Mm,
car's broken, it's not very likely that an institution is going to want to use that as collateral to back up a loan. Because, like, if we have to repossess it and they never actually ended up getting the work done,
yeah.
how are we going to get our money back from that investment, right?
Yeah.
So they're going out and buying new cars instead of fixing the ones that they had because they don't have the money to do the repairs in the first place. So it's easier for them to like trade in the hunk of junk, take the bite in the negative equity, and have a loan payment that's not too dissimilar to what they're paying on the loan that they have for it right now versus increasing the loan amount that's on the vehicle that they need to fix.
That make a lot of sense what we're doing right now. It does.
Yeah.
And then one of the last questions did you hear? Did you hear
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that muffler.
that?
Yeah. Someone's someone's got something to prove. That's what that sounds like.
And then you was like, yeah, 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 I hear it.
Yeah. Oh,
Man, it was getting on it. And,
yeah.
and my last question before Ken's last three questions with Ken is what do you see the future of banking in general with AI? Do you think there's a big need for a lot of face-to-face communication with bankers, tellers, banking specialists? Or have you already started to see some of the things change, whether it's staffing or organizational situations in your branch?
There's always going to be the need for the man behind the curtain, right? You always got to have some human in charge because as sophisticated as the AI is going to get, there's going to come points where you need to have that person operating behind it that has the heart. That goes back to like the whole lending thing, like the why behind it, because like AI is just going to take the data and the facts from what they have and work with that information. Whereas me, I can see the whole picture and see the why they're getting to where they are and, you know, get the thing that the person actually needs versus
Mm,
what the robot thinks the person needs.
mm.
Because like the other thing about that whole AI deal is like there's some places that like that credit union that I worked at back in Utah, they actually had a branch that they were going to be opening that had instead of like a full regular teller staff, which at that institution it was like four tellers would operate a branch. They were going to have one physical teller with three, not quite ATMs,
Mhm.
but like more of an automated type telling system that like wasn't like it did more than just what an ATM would do. But they would go inside and have that, but it would still have the loan officers and then the branch manager and the mortgage stuff. Like those would actually still be people. Like they wouldn't do lending with that particular system. So that's just where it's like there are some jobs that have the potential to be, I don't want to say eliminated, but facilitated by AI. But
Gotcha.
I know that we've actually asked this of our CEO not too long ago, and he said that's not going to happen here.
Yeah.
We,
Yeah.
because like I don't want to say we're built different because that sounds trendy and stuff, but we we really are at this credit union because like I've been around, right? And I when I was in Utah, I'd been to a bunch of different ones, and even the one that I did work at in Utah doesn't function like this one. Even though this one isn't nearly as large, we have our hearts and our minds in the right place. Like we have the goal of making the Greenville community a better place.
Yeah.
This credit union started off as the Greenville County School District Employees Credit Union. It was started by teachers. So we're really big with education. Like we've got a couple of branches that actually operate inside of high schools. We've got one that's inside Greenville High and one inside Greer
In
High,
Greer.
and
Yeah.
the students operate it. They learn how to open up accounts. They learn to do the transactions. They're running the branches,
I
and
love that.
yeah, it's all part of a financial literacy thing that they do. So they're learning not just like financial literacy, but they're also learning what it's like being a big boy with having a big boy
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
So they're doing it, and that's one way that we can give back to the community. And some of the neighborhoods that go to the Greer High School that are in the boundaries there, they're
Yeah.
kind of affluent, but there's a lot more in the Greer area that's not nearly as affluent. So they need to have some way for those kids to learn how to handle themselves better financially so that they can have a better future, right? So
That
like
is that's amazing.
that's we have hopes to be able to open another one in another high school soon, but which one, I don't know. I'm not on that team.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
my hope is that wherever it goes, that it goes to a school that can really make a bigger impact so that
Wow.
those kids can have like the a future that they deserve, not the one that they think they're going to get handed to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
like there's a lot of
Yep.
times because heck, I'm one of them. Like I told you, grew up single mom, two older sisters. I didn't grow up in a ritzy area. I thought that my life was just going to be a bunch of scrapping and scraping by the skin of my nails. But, you know, I just
I love that.
found, yeah, but like I found that everybody deserves the brightest of futures. You just got to work your own way and get your own way there. And the kids that are in some of these areas, they get told by so many other people that they don't deserve that. And that's bullcrap.
Wow.
Absolute.
Ladies and gentlemen, y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? Wow, you have said a lot that we can all learn from, and you have given us a lot of nuggets of the day. It's time for me to get to well, no, before I get to the final 3 questions with Ken, where can we've talked around it, but now the floor is yours. Where can my viewing audience get in contact or find you?
So if you want to just like and subscribe, okay, guys. I'm just kidding. Nah, it's Greenville Federal Credit Union. We're consistently voted the best credit union in the upstate through the Greenville Gazette and like other publications through the community as the best credit union in the upstate. We've been around since 1968 and really strong institution that really makes the right choices for people in the right way. Me, I go to all the branches, so any Greenville Federal Credit Union, you may see me, you may not. Just depends on if you're lucky. But yeah,
Look,
you can
thank you.
find me.
Thank you. Thank you.
And oddly
Ladies and
enough, as
gentlemen,
watered down as my name is, I am the only Steve. So,
Well, let's get to these final 3 questions with Ken. Are you ready?
all right, I am. Hit me.
What is your personal definition of success?
My mantras that I go by, like these are the things, the way that I live my life, right? Life's too short to be a douche. And as long as you're not hurting anybody, I'm here to either help or get out of the way. So for me, I, okay, here we go. Definition of success for me. After I'm done and I've washed my hands, is it better or is it worse?
Talk to him. After I wash my hands, is it better or is it worse? Just like that.
Yeah,
Man, look, I ain't heard that one. I haven't heard that one. That might be the bar for this episode.
maybe.
Look, and then the next question. If you could pass down one piece of advice to the next generation, what would it be?
To the next generation. I got a couple because like one, it's for like when people are starting to get into the workplace.
Talk to me.
There's no job that's beneath you. If you're hungry, there's no job that's beneath you.
I think that's a good one because I live by being of service to others. I.e., while I'm doing this podcast, I really believe you get a lot by being of service. And I don't think nothing is below me. Like I will do whatever I got to do. And I believe that's what make the community and the world. That's really what should make it go around. But yeah, I share your sentiment with that.
Yeah.
So I agree.
Yeah.
And
But oh, I was gonna say, but another one that I'm trying to think of a good way to word it. And how can I say it? Empathy has never not been cool.
hold on. I don't know if you got this from the look at this. Can y'all see this? The
There you go.
supreme gift. It talks of what you just now said is in this book. Talks about empathy.
I've never seen
Talks
the
about
book.
empathy.
But yeah, like
Wow.
it's never not okay to help people. Like it's always okay. And it's never things, how can I say this one? You're not less of a person if you need help.
Tell the people in the bay. I agree.
Yeah. Just
I agree.
yeah, it's okay to ask for help. Like talking about problems, that's fine. Doesn't make you any less of a person, male, female, whatever. You know, if you need help, talk to people about it.
And then my last question with
All
you,
right.
Steve.
All right.
What is something that you know now that could have saved you years of heartache and work?
That it's okay to fall.
Man.
Yeah. Just
Do you,
that easy. It's okay.
if I can piggyback off of that, I gotta kind of say the same thing because much of my paralysis in my young adult life was afraid of falling, afraid of failing,
Hmm.
and I wouldn't even
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
And as I gotten older, both in my personal life and my business life, that's where the magic happens. You got to go out there, and fail, quote unquote, a little bit.
How I got to that was so when I lived in Mexico, I told you about that earlier. Because I'm from Utah, yes, I did the Mormon thing. I was a missionary there. That's why I was there. As I was learning the language early on, there was a bit of a stigma of what if people think I'm dumb? Like it was that for being afraid to fail. But what happened was I was in the home of these church members, and it was me and the guy that they assign you to work with. You call him your companion in the LDS mission world. So my companion was talking to these adults, and I'd only been in the country for 3 weeks. I sucked at Spanish still, you know, like I could like hear words in here and there, and I could get context clues to kind of know what was going on. But I'd only had 2 months of learning the language before that, before I actually got to the country. And I'm sitting there trying to listen to people. That's the only way they've ever communicated. So he's talking to the adults, and they had these two little kids that were playing over on the side. So I was like, you know, I'm going to go talk with them. I'm going to hang out with them because this over my head. I got them. And they're talking about things that they're afraid of. Now, in Spanish, to say I am afraid of something, you say tengo miedo de, right? Which literally translates to I have a fear of whatever. So I'm hearing them, but they're saying it so fast. And I was trying to remember the word for it, and I couldn't, but I was thinking of all of these mie words that I knew. And for some reason, the word mierda came up instead of miedo. Here's the difference. The kids asked me, they said, Elder, ¿de qué tienes miedo? I was like, what do you have a fear? And instead of saying I have a fear of spiders, I said, which would be tengo miedo de arañas, I said tengo mierda de arañas, which means I have spider shit. So I told these children, like in a very crude fashion, that I collect excrement from arachnids. And like all they did was they like, no, 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 you don't say it that way. And they like laughed it off. I have this core memory now, but they just like laughed it off and then we just kept going. And I thought to myself, it's like, that wasn't that bad. They don't think I'm dumb. They know I'm trying. So from there, like I wasn't afraid to fall after that. Like I jokingly say my give a crap button broke that day and I just
Yeah,
didn't care.
literally.
Yeah, like I really
Wow.
didn't care anymore after that. So I would make some mistakes every here and there, but they weren't that bad. And then later on, more of that empathy stuff kind of came through where I was thinking it's like, if someone came from Guatemala and they're trying to speak English, but they're struggling a little bit, I don't know a single person that would make fun of that person for trying.
Yeah.
Why should they be afraid that they will get made fun of? Why was I afraid that I would get made fun of? I wouldn't do that to anybody, and I don't know anybody that would.
Wow. Wow. Steve, it is amazing what we can learn from each other and the stories that
Hmm.
you think I've heard them all, but I have not. And then you talking about how you broke through with just, it seems like a simple exercise, but it was life changing for you. And that is literally what I want the viewing audience to understand. Those who are afraid to do, those who are afraid to try, those who are sitting on the stool or do nothing because they're afraid of what the world's gonna think about 'em. It's okay. They're gonna think it anyway. If they're gonna think it, they're gonna think it anyway.
Hmm.
But it was
Yeah,
definitely
no,
something that I had to learn.
to
Yeah.
say it crassly, screw them.
Yeah, yes. Correct. Screw 'em. Hey, go ahead and live your life.
Yeah,
And thanks for sharing that story with my
no
audience.
worries, man.
And ladies and gentlemen, with that story, and I hope that resonates with y'all just as much as it's gonna resonate with me. I'm gonna let my friend Mr. Stoker go. And I learned a lot. I really did. I learned a lot and I laughed a
That's
lot
good.
during this episode. And I really thank you for coming on and believing in me enough to come on and share this information with my viewers because I think I really do believe in order to live the life, and you kind of alluded to it during our discussion. Yeah, it ain't just you just being a financial expert or a banker. Yeah, somebody is dreaming of a new car. Somebody's dreaming of a new house. Somebody's dreaming of another newer opportunity. And you could be in which they use the gateway to open it up for that family. So, yeah, it was very big to have you on today. And thank you for joining us. Okay.
No worries, man. I appreciate that.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, I know you took a lot of notes. I know you feel good about it just as much as I did. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until our next episode, this is your boy Ken and Steve checking out. Peace.